What's going on, world? It's your boy Kuya P. Nerds rule the world. Back for another interview. Comixology, my good people over Comixology, have a new original graphic novel dropping on March 25th on the platform. It's called Major Thomás. It's a YA space adventure written by, as you see on my screen, the amazing Omar Morales with art by Serge Acuna and Mal Mora. Check it out when it blasts off on March 25th. Thank you so much, Omar, for your time. I appreciate you. How are you tonight?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me, Kuya. I've been really looking forward to talking to you because I understand that you also consume lots of YouTube about alien life and conspiracies and such, and I am right there with you, man. So we're gonna have a great conversation.
Oh, yes, man. I am a believer. I
Me
am a
too.
believer.
Me
I love
too.
it. Well, I got to tell you, man, I am uh, a film fan. If you've seen the channel, I am a comics creator as well. And but just as a creative, as an artist, and also one that knows that I am a brown person in this game as well. Um, it's I'm merging all this together because it's what you're doing as well. And
Mm,
what I really love about what I've read thus far on Major Thomás is blending these elements of me. I
mm,
am a brown person in this world who has big dreams. Um, uh, and I want to use this art form to inspire as well as entertain, but educate in a subtle way. And what you're doing with what I've seen so far um, is why you got a quote from astronaut Jose M. Hernandez. Salute to you on that. I just love it,
mm.
man. Congrats on this project dropping on March 25th, man.
Oh, thank you, and salute to astronaut Jose M. Hernandez. He is actually from the same hometown as my dad, La Piedad, Michoacan, Mexico. It's crazy to me that they're both from there. And he's actually Jose lives not too far from here. He had a job in Livermore for a while at the lab, and he owns a winery now in Lodi. These are all places I can get to in like, 10, 15 minutes. So it's just weird how the universe works sometimes and the synchronicity. So yeah, I'm super flattered and grateful to him to doing the forward to Major Tomas, and thank you for the kind words, man. I made this book for you, and the fact that it's resonating with you, it means mission accomplished, right? I want you to share it with your kids. I want you to share it with your other brown friends, or even non-brown friends that are just into space and action and adventure, because there's something for everybody there. But hearing you talk about what you're getting out of it is just music to my ears, and it touches me, man, because like it shows that I'm hitting on all the right beats and all the right themes, and doing it in an entertaining way and a subtle way, right? I'm not hitting people over the head with politics, but yet if you observe closely enough through the story, it's there.
I love it. It's real. It's the way we have to do it in a lot of ways as well. That I think you and I, as brown creatives in this
Hmm.
business,
Hmm.
because if we're too out with it, we get the woke label, which I don't give a fuck about. Excuse my language, and I apologize. I'm trying to be careful because this is a comics interview. So if I apologize if I curse, but
All good.
you know what I'm saying. But it's why I got into this business because I was inspired. I'm sure for like you, Star Trek. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because in space and in Star Wars, whereas with all the rest of TV, we couldn't really see ourselves in it
Yeah.
because we weren't portrayed. But with those shows, they had such a mixed grouping of folks that it was like a reality that something that we could look forward to and have hopes and dreams with. So I love that you are creating this for the next generation. And again, I salute you because this is why I got into the business. And what you're doing is everything. So salute to you on this. Let's start where it began. I'm sorry, because I can get sidetracked.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. Sure.
I'm an empath. I love giving energy to
I'll
good
take
people,
it.
man.
I'll
And
take it. I'll take it.
when did the apple hit you in the head, like they say, with new ideas, and started putting your fingers to the keyboard or pen to pad to pen Major Thomás?
Okay, yeah. So in the deluxe version of the book, in the back, I actually dedicate a page to this. Um, my wife and I went to see a band in San Francisco. This was like 2009, if you can believe that. And there was a warm-up act a band called Shiny Toy Guns. Okay, and they did a cover of the song Major Tom, which was like a 1981 hit. Peter Schilling from
Oh
Germany,
yeah.
he translated it to English. It's like it's one of those songs that will never go away. And the lead singer, she blew the roof off of that place with their rendition of Major Tom, and she was singing with so much emotion, and the empath side of me just absorbed because she was singing about an astronaut who was lost and he was
Mm.
desperate to find his way back home. And I thought to myself, something is just born inside of me right now. And I thought, I want to tell the story of Major Tom, who's a famous fictional character from like music, Space Oddity, he shows up in that song as well. But I want to do it about a brown guy who's lost in
Let's go.
space, right?
Yeah.
I want to do it about a modern person in the modern world because those songs were written, in the 60s with David Bowie and in the early 80s, Peter Schilling. And I was like, I want to do my version of Major. What would it look like if I wrote a rock song about Major Tom? I would have to call it Major Thomás, and he would have to be brown, and we would have to see how he came from very humble beginnings to try to reach the stars. Because if you imagine Major Tom from the rock songs, you don't really know how he got to where he got. You just know that he's lost in space, and you imagine this white guy who's lost in space. But I was like, there's so much more to be told here. Who is this guy? Why does he want to go out in space? What struggles does he have to get there? And then what happens when he gets lost, and how does he get back? So I started marinating that in my head probably for like 10 years, man. And this cover art here that you see behind you is I actually did that cover like, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I'm estimating. And I just kept it on the front screen of my phone for 7 or 8 years. Oops, my flashlight went on. And I said, I am not taking it off until the book is done and we have a publisher. So I was
Wow.
staring at that thing every day. Motivation, that cover right there, motivation every single day. So COVID 2020, put pen to paper, put fingers on the keyboard. By then I had already had an outline. I had a little bit of concept art, and I had been marinating it so much in my head for years that I was like, I know it. I know what I'm doing. And then now I have the time, right? Because we're all trapped inside for 2 years. Boom. I started banging out pages and pages and pages and pages. And then I contracted Serge, and then Raul Angulo for colors. And then later on, Malmora and Fabi Marquez. And then lastly, Taylor Esposito on letters. But it was super important to me to hire an entire Latino team
I love that. Love that.
to do this, uh, because I wanted to do it in a way that felt authentic, and where readers could like subconsciously, just by looking at the story that we've created, understand, oh, these people understand and get what it's like to live in this skin. And yeah, man, the rest is history. The book launches on 3/25, and that's the story of how it came to be.
Yo, that's so dope. I love that. I love that. I'm now when I gonna when Major Tom's a classic, as you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
now I am gonna look at it with a new sense of eyes, and when I hear it, if I'm around anybody that I know that are comic heads, especially my Latino friends, I'm like, hey, bruh, you know this track right here? I interviewed this cat Omar Morales, and he's got this book that you got to read because it takes this to another level and creates it for us. Salute to you, sir. Just I love that. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, and the fact of putting your people on it is just amazing. I love that kind of energy. Um, so you made it happen, and
Hmm.
you pushed it along.
Yep.
Uh, you got the script out. How about getting with Comixology, finding the right distributor to put this
Yeah.
out together with, and those decisions? What was that like?
That's a kind of a long story, so I'll try to condense it. So I think it was 2023, I think it was. I reached out to a guy from Comixology Originals who was the guy in charge of deciding what projects they want. He's like, "Oh, I like this. I like the way you've kind of packaged it. The pitch, it's it makes sense to me." And but then like 2 weeks later, he was gone. He quit and took a job somewhere else, and I was kind of left in the dust, like, "Oh man, like." I I thought this was going somewhere, and now he's gone. I don't even know who else to talk to. Fast forward like a year, I was like, and this is how the universe works, man. I was like, screw it. I'm done pitching to publishers. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to put it on Kickstarter. I've done Kickstarters before. I know how to do it. Like, I'm not going to stress about this anymore. I reached out to this marketing company. I said, hey, can you help me with a Kickstarter? Because I don't have a lot of time, full-time job, full-time family. Like, I need some help. And I said, I'm serious about this. I'm willing to do a contract. Like, I'm a real deal, legit. And he was like, all right, let's see your book. And I made him sign an NDA. And I think that showed them this guy's professional, man. This guy means business. They signed the NDA. I sent them the book. They read it. They get me on the phone. They go, hey, how about Comixology Originals? I was like, what? What? I was like, yeah, I love that idea. I'm a Comixology subscriber, right? So I love the Originals program, as well as all the other stuff that you get to read for free with, the subscription. But I was like, yes, like, man, what so weird how the universe works. And so I was like, let's start the conversation. So they got me in touch with the people at Amazon. And then I met and sat down face to face with the head of Comixology at uh, not Comic Con, Comic Con San Diego. We had a drink together, and then the rest is history. It took some months to get the contract done, but what I really like about it is Comixology Originals, all of Comixology, if you think about it, or all digital comics for that matter, are immune to this whole thing with Diamond. They're immune to the whole thing with Lunar and like, are the distributors going to be able to pick up the slack for Diamond? It's just, it feels like chaos out there. All you need is a phone, a tablet, a computer, a laptop. You don't even have to have Kindle. Like a lot of people don't know that. You can just read it right inside of Amazon.com if you want. Of course, Kindle's super convenient, but and then, the Comixology Originals program has partnerships with Dark Horse and Ablaze and now Mad Cave, three really great publishers where they take the content, they I think they sub-license the print rights and then they give the book a second life out in the direct markets. So it's no guarantees that that's going to happen for me, but I really hope that it does because I really would love to have it have a print run to be out there in shops. That's the dream, right? As a little kid, is like, oh, I want to see my name on the front of a comic someday in a comic shop, a proper comic book store, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I love the people over there at Amazon Comixology. They've been really great to me. And then the marketing arm, Superfan Promotions, they're amazing people too. That's probably how
Yeah.
got your hands on the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story of how that happened. And I couldn't be happier, man. It's a dream come true.
Congratulations. I love that. And because I'm an old head. Yeah. The, I've done some newer comics and had that, but working with different labels and it's the indie business, how hard
Yeah.
it is and print runs
Oh
and
yeah.
all that. So I'm
Uh-huh.
always curious how this new market is in digital and rights, ownership rights and everything.
Yeah.
You still own the
Yeah.
IP and everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the great things too about working with Amazon is they have a great vision for the IP, right? Like, for example, in the contract, it states how things can work if this were to be translated for foreign countries. It talks about rights for adaptation into other media. And of course, there's Amazon Studios. And so, from what I understand, I don't know too much about the inner workings, but I think Amazon Studios takes a look at all the stuff that Comixology wants to let in the door, and they kind of throw their opinion in with everybody else over at Comixology, and then they make a kind of a unilateral decision as a group. So the potential for being on the number one shopping platform in the world is huge, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm again so pleased. That's a dream come true.
Definitely. And some, certain risk you could take in order to just get it out there and get the property out there.
Yeah,
But no, I love it, man. And salute to you again. Congratulations. Wishing you the
thank you.
best. It's because we're all still learning in this new kind of way the media and the
Yeah,
industry is changing
right,
and ever changing. So
right.
love it. Let's talk about the meat of this book because again,
Yeah,
um, uh, I really dig just from the first couple of pages, like I love how you mentioned already, like, and this ain't two spoilers. I think there was like a preview stuff that's out there, so it's not spoilers. But
Yeah,
you just mentioned how Latinos have been in the space program,
yeah,
and it's like, in different ways, and because well, I'm real out here on NRW. We live in a white society, and it's these people that you wish you would have known. You know what I'm saying? Because again, we're we don't get put out there like that, and so I just love that you presented that in the material. It's just like, oh, we got this, and this, and
yeah,
now we're about to have
yeah,
Major Thomás that you're about to meet
yeah,
for the rest of this
yeah,
book. You know,
yeah,
it's just a beautiful kind of in their way. Yeah, we've been in here. You may
yeah.
not know it, but we've been here.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. He's an amalgamation of all, he stands on the shoulders of these real people, right? There was a lady from Colombia, and she came to the US with this dream of joining NASA. She started out cleaning houses to put herself through college, and she worked her way up to like mission director at NASA. Um, engineers at NASA. We've had Latinos up in there. We have Jose, the astronaut, as well as others, like going way back to the first astronauts back in the day. There was a guy who was of mixed heritage. I believe he was half Asian, half Latino. And, he's been around for a while. And so there's been women, Latina astronauts and engineers and flight directors. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw flowers at them on page one to say, look, you people are real. You're about to enter this fictional story, but it's based on real stuff.
I love that. So the homework to do this when we talked earlier how you wrote the script and how long it took you to finally get it out there.
Yeah.
Where did this knowledge already come from? Because again, like it's not in our regular textbooks. How did you become acquainted with all this? Was there like space? Did your family work in any programs, or just how did you get educated to have this
Yeah.
knowledge?
No, no, nobody in my family. My dad always dreamt of being a pilot, and he's big into alien life as well. But uh, really, it was just really from pop culture. Growing up a Star Wars fan and a Marvel fan, and of course, like old shows like Ultraman. I loved science fiction, and so. But as I got older, right, and I started finding out more about the world and how it is. I was watching TV one day. I was watching the news, and they were like, "Oh, here's, um, an astronaut in space, Jose Hernandez." And they showed him in the capsule, and he started waving his Oakland Raiders flag, and he just stole my heart right there because I'm a huge Raiders fan, right? And I was like, "Who is this guy? I got to find out more about him." And I started digging into him, and he's got a movie out right now, actually on Amazon Prime. It's called A Million Miles Away. It's the story of his life, which is phenomenal. Um, and my story is just, a little bit over the top because, in real life, there's not talking robots and, aliens that we interact with. But I get into all that in my story because it's fictional and it's meant to be fun and like an old school adventure story. So along the way, as you pointed out, as I was researching and I just found more and more and more examples of Latinos working with the space program. And now that there's like other space programs, there's SpaceX and all this, there's probably more opportunity. And so I just want to encourage our people, if your dream is space or your dream is being a pilot or your dream is being a mom of two kids, do it. Do you. There's nothing stopping you.
I love that. Yeah, and I think part of the fun I love as a fellow creative is that education and research as you're putting together material. And so
Yeah.
you like, wow, we're creating fiction, right? But and thinking, but even though we know we're on the shoulders of giants in many
Yeah.
ways, but when you find out giants that you were never aware of, and it's
Yeah.
just like, wow, like man, it's such an uh a fuel as a creative, and it helps with that inspiration. And you actually just made me remember the lead actor. I was supposed to interview him for A Million Miles Away. Shout out to Michael Pena. I worked with him on a
Yes.
couple of different projects, and he's a cool cat, but
Yeah. Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
in A Million Miles Away.
Yes, he is.
So uh, this book is again is dropping on March 25th. Um,
Pre-orders are open now.
Yes, and on all digital platforms. Is this the start of many? Because again, I haven't read it all to the way in, but I feel like I know I'm gonna want more Major Thomás at the end of this.
So I'll say this, it's a standalone story. It
Okay.
can it can end where it ends, but there is potential and the door is left cracked open for more. So if people like you love it, let Amazon know, let Comixology know. It's a very low investment, guys. $6.99 for 130 pages, full color with amazing artwork from some amazing artists. I can't say enough about the artwork team. They really shouldered the load on this and did some amazing work. So yeah, man, for the price of probably what's like a single 22-page comic today, you can have a full graphic novel, the whole enchilada, the full story arc, read it at your leisure. And the more that people buy it and leave good reviews, maybe there's a chance we could see a volume two.
And we need this, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all already. I'm looking at y'all right now. We need more of this.
Uh,
Where did you find this amazing art team that you put together? Because they killed it.
yeah, Instagram really, and then kind of word of mouth, right? So like Serge and Raul started the story, and big ups to them. About 30, 40 pages in, they got scooped up by like DC and Image and like all these big time publishers. And so they had to leave the project, but they left me in good hands and referred me over to Mao and Fabi. And then Taylor, the letterer, I've been working with him for a long time, but he's always one to refer if he's too busy. So it started with just, scouting on Instagram, but then it became word of mouth. And so now I'm in a good spot that I have a pretty good network of people to work with out there for all types of different stuff.
I love it. Well, great job on this. Again, everybody, Major Thomás arrives on Comixology March 25th, digital. Again, I'm going to have all the links in the description below. Subscribe, support my brother Omar because I'm going to need more of this. I'm just saying. But I can't let you go because without talking a little bit about space and aliens, because you brought it up
Yeah.
earlier. When did you first start believing in aliens and all this? You
I'll
got
tell
me
you
all
what, man.
intrigued now.
Okay, I'll tell you what, man. I was a little kid, and my dad came home from the mall or the bookstore or something, and he brought home this book called Communion, and he had it on his nightstand. Communion was the first book written about an abduction. It was a guy called Whitley Strieber, and they drew the likeness of the image that everyone has in their head now is the gray alien with the big round head and the big black eyes, and he's like emotionless. He has this tiny little mouth and this tiny little dots for nose, and he's just staring at you, the front cover, staring at you. Before that, there was no image that people had in their head of what a space alien would look like. Communion back in the early 80s changed the entire trajectory because now when you say alien, even our emojis inside of our phones, it's the gray, round head with the black eyes. So my dad was a believer from the get-go. I was scared of looking at that book cover, but I was intrigued. And he
Yeah,
would read about it and he would tell
yeah.
me, and then he would continue to research on his own. And now it's everywhere. You can't turn around without bumping into, some kind of story or some kind of documentary or new evidence, lights in the sky, abductions, all of it, and even like Ancient Aliens was from History Channel, what they talk about, well, they've been here, maybe they've been here before us, maybe they're
Yeah,
underground, maybe
yeah.
we are, maybe the Greys are a future version of. I love it, man. I
I'll
I eat
say
it all up. I eat it all up.
I
There's
eat
no
it
theory
all
that's
up,
too far
dude.
for me. There is no theory that's too far for me. I consume it all. I make up my own mind on whether I believe it or not, but I
Yeah.
want all the information.
There's truth within all the creative intrigue to entertain. There's truth within it all that I can follow to a degree. But
Yeah,
I eat it up. I eat it up.
me too.
Do you think you've ever seen UFOs or anything in the sky?
No, I have not ever.
Oh, okay.
And I live here next door to Livermore, where the lab, where there's a lot of activity there, man. A
Yeah.
lot of
So you haven't been just
UAP.
out there to like,
No,
no?
because I'm too scared, bro. Because like I keep watching this stuff the last couple months. It talks about be careful, don't be out there, trying to make a mind connection with these things because you'll end up regretting it. Like there's lots of
Yeah.
stuff, evidence of like where it goes bad for people,
Yeah.
and they have health problems if they encounter a UFO because like the radiation exposure and stuff. And so I'm too chicken. But I have had some like paranormal things that have happened to me in my life though that I can't quite explain. Like one time when I was like 19 or 20, I got sleep paralysis where I woke up and I couldn't move. it was so scary, dude. Like I could move my eyes and I could see in my bedroom, but like I couldn't move. I was paralyzed and it felt like an eternity, but like, it was probably like 10 minutes or something. And then
Yeah.
eventually I fell back asleep and my body fell back into rhythm with my mind. And like I was able to wake up and just, move around normally.
Wow.
But in that same house, my parents' house, my grandma used to have a corner bedroom. It was like a little office that they made into a bedroom for her when she was like getting ready to die. And she came out one morning and was like, "Oh yeah, my little angelitos, my little angels came to visit me last night." And we're like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, this bright light appears, and then I see these little people. They're like 4 foot tall and they're bald. And I asked them, 'Are you from the devil or are you from God?' And she said, 'They assured me they're good and they're from God and they care for all of us.' And so she was like homies with them from then on in. She was like, 'These
Whoa.
are my angelitos,' right?" And this is in the same house that I grew up in, for 20 years. So there's something going on around that house, but to answer your question, I've never seen an alien, I've never seen a
Yeah.
UFO, and I'm probably too chicken to go search it out.
Yo, it's exclusive. I don't think I really talked about it on NRW like this.
All right, bring
But
it.
uh well, I definitely think I've seen uh lights in the sky since I was a kid. I was a military kid,
Okay.
raised on naval bases,
Oh, okay, yeah,
Air
that's
Force.
where they like to go.
Exactly. So, after a while, you can kind of tell when things are just different. And then as I got older and I joined the military myself, I did 4 years in the military.
Thank
I
you
got
for your
trained
service.
on what to look for. And
Mm,
after a while, it's gotta be something
yeah,
unexplained. So,
yeah,
and unexplained can mean many things as well.
yeah. Sure, sure.
And that's what we call it now. It's not just UFOs; it's
UAP.
UAPs,
Yeah,
unexplained aerial phenomena. So
yeah,
I definitely know it's been a UAP.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, so I know throughout since as a kid to now,
yeah.
I've seen something in the sky. Not the clear pictures that we all strive to see, but I know I've seen something.
The reason I have so much conviction is so much of the testimony that's coming out nowadays is from military, is from spooks, it's from CIA, it's from
Exactly.
FBI, and these are trained observers. They know what a weather balloon is, right? They know what swamp gas is. They're not gonna be fooled by those what do they call them when they try to debunk it, like, oh
Exactly.
no, that was just, flares in the sky. No, no, man. These things move like this, like in right angles, and they move at incredible speeds. It's nothing that China has made, it's nothing that Russia has made.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's coming from. It could be coming from underneath the ocean or it could be coming from outer space. It could be both. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's fascinating, man. It's
Exactly.
fascinating.
Yeah, and that's why for me, I was a skeptic. Well, I was kind of a believer as a kid, but then I'm
Yeah.
like, but then okay, there's got to be a true story. Then when you join, and then you learn the other side of things, and then all the way around, what to look for. I'm like, okay, now I know it's real. Like
Yeah.
I know it's real without knowing it's real.
Yeah.
In different ways of certain things. So anyway, and then I've started to have some memories of you're talking about like sleep paralysis. When I
Yeah.
was a kid, there was something
Mhm.
I remember seeing in school that now I want to say it was like Orson Welles or something kind of movie, but then
Oh
when I
yeah.
as I became a filmmaker later on,
Uh,
I could never find that stuff that I remember so vividly
yeah.
watching as a kid. And
Hmm.
then there were certain things. Remember, you're a Marvel Comics guy, and
Yeah.
you see Doctor Strange with all the things that he does with his hands and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to kind of do that with my hands and make certain symbols and sit up in my bed and looking up at the sky. I don't know what that was, but it was I don't know, I felt like I was possessed. And I have vivid memories of doing that as a kid. And I felt like there was a connection to whatever's up there. And
Yeah.
I'm still trying to understand it and talk to my therapist about that because I don't know why I did that.
If you got time for another quick story, man, here's
Let's
here's
do
another
it.
here's another thing that happened to me. So this was like I had moved out of my parents' house. I was married. I had a young daughter, and I used to come home because we used to have to pick her up at daycare at her grandma's house, and the commute home was brutal, man. It was like 45-hour commute. You're just dead tired after a long day at work. I get home, I collapse on the bed, and I just kind of drift off. It's probably like 7 at night, dead tired. Dripped off to take a. I love power naps, so I was taking a power nap. Dude, I took this power nap, and I swear to God, it felt like information was being downloaded into me at like trillions of, terabytes per millisecond. Like it just felt like, you know how at the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and the guy's going and it's all the like colors and like
Oh
it's
yeah.
just too much for him and he can't comprehend what's happening. That's what it felt like, man. It was like
Yeah.
all these little bits of color and little geographic shapes and geometry looking like right angles, and I didn't learn anything like profound, but the one thing I do remember when I woke up and I came out of there was I had this realization that time is not real. There's no such thing as time as we understand it through our, monkey bodies and monkey brains, that it's time is simultaneously happening all at the same time, right? There's no beginning, middle, and end. It's all happening at the same time. And I remember having such clarity about that, right? And I just woke up feeling like a whole different person. Like there was my life before this, now it was my life after that. Now, am I still a slave to a clock and a calendar every day? Absolutely. I can't get around it. But that was bizarre, man.
Dude, I feel that. I've had those instances. You ever see Interstellar?
Yes.
Did that not fuck you up?
Dude, in fact, a lot of times when I was writing Major Thomás, I was just playing Interstellar on loop, the soundtrack, in my earphones. I love that movie, dude. I love that movie. And there's actually a bit of a nod to it in Act 3 of Major Thomás. So keep your eyes peeled.
Awesome. Omar, I could talk for days on this now because we got the kind of like this vibe of that wild life. I don't normally do this kind of sidetracks, but I'm so fascinated by it, and I was feeling that energy. Brother, I feel like I know you. We definitely got to chat again.
Yes.
You have other projects. I'd love to have you come back to give you your flowers and promote.
Oh, thank you.
And hope to link up with you at some shows coming up. I think I might be doing San Diego as well as New York this year. So
okay, I'll be at WonderCon in Anaheim this month. I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and then San Diego, I plan to be there again. So yeah, man, if you're gonna be there, let's hook up.
My guy. That is the amazing Omar Morales, y'all. Major Thomás is arriving on Comixology. You can pre-order right now, arriving digitally on March 25th. Such a fun time talking to you, Omar. Gotta have you back. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World.
Nerds rule the world.
Pleasure chatting with you. Love to all my nerds who rule the world.
Yeah. Nerds rule the world.
Yes, we do.
Thanks. Nerds rule the world. Thank you.
I love the nerds ruling the world. So more power to you.
Patrick, what up, man? And yes, they do. Nerds rule the world, kid.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Awesome. Kuya P, Nerds Rule the World. Hello.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Oh,
Nerds rule the world.
I got.
It's in the title of your show, like Nerds Rule the World. Like, I want more Black weirdos on screen, and I don't feel like we ever get to see that very much.
Thank you so much. Nerds do rule the world.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Nerds Rule. Love
it. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Julian.
Yes,
Rock on. I love it. Thank you so much.
It's good to see you. I love Nerds Rule the World.
But yeah, there's a heavy nerd component, man.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you ask me, nerds rule the world. So
absolutely.
And you're right. Nerds do rule the world.
We're just the best.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
so much.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
It's your boy Kuya P. Nerds Rule the World. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.
Do. They rule the world, all right.
Yes. Take care, Tony. Thank you, guys. And yeah, we gonna get into it, my friend. I'm gonna give you your flowers. All right.
Thank you.
Let's go. All right, here we go. In a 1, 2, 3.